Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Real Sports Scope. I'm your host, Robert Butler, on this 26th day of March here. I got some great NCAA games here coming up tonight, but mainly tomorrow night and this weekend. Got the Mad New Yorker backstage. Going to talk about this Ty Simpson-Fernando Mendoza debate here. And Hubert Davis got fired since last time we were on live. Stand by. We'll take our first and only break. We'll be back here momentarily and hit the ground running here on the Real Sports Scope. Hello, Sports Scope followers. The program has seen tremendous growth since going 5 days a week. I just wanted to thank everybody for your cash contributions and sharing the program with friends and families. Just a reminder, if you want to contribute to the program, go to the Cash App, the cash sign, and Sports Scope. There are other ways to contribute to the program listed at the bottom of the screen. If you want to advertise on the program, go to Sports, that is Sports with an S, another S, Scope, SKOPE, at gmail.com, just like it's listed at the bottom of the screen. Thank you and enjoy the program. All righty, then we'll bring on the Mad New Yorker, everybody. Good crowd tonight. Hey, man, how you doing, Carlos?
Tired, bro. Tired, but thanks for having me. Happy Thursday.
Appreciate you pushing through on a tired day. I'm a little tired myself. Got a great show tonight. Hubert Davis fired. Now we'll talk about who they're going to bring in at North Carolina. Got a little North Carolina colors on here. Dan Orlowski said he talked to 12 of 15 different general managers saying that they would take Ty Simpson over Fernando Mendoza. Not really sure if this is a little pre-draft hype. We seem to go through this almost every year with the quarterbacks. And, of course, hey, man, there's some St. John's and I want to say Duke game coming up. So there's so much to get into tonight. You know, I wanted to start, I guess, with this. The buzz really the last few days, man, is this Ty Simpson stuff. Here is Dan Orlowski with ESPN talking to, we'll get right into it and I'll get your thoughts. Talking to Pat McAfee, if I can get this in here right.
Dan Orlovsky loves.
Oh, not that one. Not that one. It's probably.
And here are the names.
Oh, that's the Hubert Davis cut. Bear with me, folks. I got plenty of cuts here.
All right, I'm just sitting here.
Oh, third and that one. Okay. So basically, he was saying that. Let me see.
Dan Orlovsky loves him.
That one. I don't think I downloaded 15,000 clips, brother, and I cannot find the one. So he's saying, I might be able to play it here on the audio, and you can hear it this way. If I have it in my cuts. But he's saying basically he talked to 12 of 15 different general managers. He texted and said that they are that they would take Ty Simpson, the Alabama quarterback, over Fernando Mendoza, who's been the big front runner to go number one overall. And I'm trying to find it here, folks. Just kind of bear with me. I might be able to find it. Let's see. Okay, I tell you what. Here he is. Here he is on Get Up. Listen to this.
Going to be talking about, and
but there's so much conversation on the outside, right? On talk shows and in fans and in.
It's draft season. We're going to be talking and we're going to be dissecting these guys. And I've talked to a lot of GMs and talent evaluators and scouts about Ty Simpson, and even ones who tell me, guys, that they think Ty may be more talented. They still think Mendoza's going number one, and they've told me I would take Mendoza number one. The big sticking point with Ty Simpson that I've heard has been he's had really good moments, but he's also had, as one person termed it, like WTF moments throughout a whole game, where those sort of like, what are you doing types of games. And that's the sticking point for a lot of these talent evaluators. So when I asked one of them, I asked the front office exec, okay, and this is an exec whose team is picking in the top 10. I said, if you were going to take Ty Simpson, how do you ensure that he is successful? He told me, you make sure that you have playmakers around him. You make sure you have a really strong running game. So it's
yeah, and I will say this. Let me show you this throw. This is what a lot of people are talking about. This is Chase Daniels, the backup quarterback, who played for the Saints for a while, and he's an analyst too. These are the kind of throws that they're talking about. I do have this.
Third and 6.
Here it is.
All right, I'm just sitting here watching Ty Simpson film against Tennessee. They were a top 15 team in the country. And this throw, there's not a lot of college quarterbacks in this pocket that can make that throw right there. I mean, that is unbelievable. I mean, you got a guy coming scot-free, two guys coming scot-free. You're throwing to a receiver on a deep cross, and this is covered. Like that is a perfectly thrown football. You can't throw it any better than this. I mean, dude, whoever gets Ty Simpson, in my
that's an NFL throw. You know,
just watch games.
Here's the Dan Orlovsky cut. I'm sorry, audience. Check this out, Carlos. See what
I just watched games. I finally got done with Ty just about a week ago. I felt strongly about feeling that he was the number one quarterback in the class. I probably texted 12 to 15 general manager decision-making coaches in the NFL the very simple text of Ty Simpson is QB1 in this class. 2 people got back to me with a disagreement.
And the rest didn't respond?
Was it a thumbs up from the people? Or
yeah, it was some form of like agree.
Fernando Mendoza has earned the right to just be approved as the number one guy. We think. You do not think that? We understand?
I think he's a good player.
Got 29 days to sway. Turn signal might be on right now. Not 100% sure what you got going on.
The agents work for us, not the other way around, just so everybody knows. They're employed by us. Respectfully, that's how the business model is. CAA is a very big agency. They have a lot of people. I'm not nearly important enough to CAA financially for them to pay me to say something about a guy who might be the 20th pick in the draft.
So that's Orlovsky. They asked Mel Kiper, who does this a lot. Listen to what Mel Kiper said.
Dan Orlovsky loves him some Ty Simpson. What is Orlovsky seeing that maybe you're not seeing?
Yeah, I know, Dan, when he explained it, and I just went back the way I would counter that. You say, okay, who's the bigger quarterback? 4 inches, nearly 4 inches taller, 25 pounds heavier. The experience, Dan, 15 starts is a dangerous, risky number for Ty Simpson. Look at the, the 7-8 quarterbacks that had below 20 starts, and look how they fared. Not well. Fernando has 35 starts, Dan. He had a completion percentage of 72%. Ty was around 64%. 7 rushing touchdowns for Fernando, 2 for Simpson. How about expectations, Dan? When you're an Indiana quarterback and you roll through the year and you get to the playoffs, he did that with all that pressure. Then he wins the Heisman. Then he has to go win a national title, right? He always talked about cracking the code, and he is obsessed with that. He kind of has that Peyton Manning ability in that regard to just be so into what he's doing and study it so hard. He's got a little Matt Ryan in him. 15 starts, you need to have a chance to transition to the NFL. Another year at Alabama, I think, would have helped him. He had 5 straight games, Dan, where he had a fumble lost. And then he had another fumble loss, which was his 6th against Indiana in the playoff game when he got hit by D'Angelo Ponce and cracked that rib. Mendoza went back, got another year, improved in that key area. Ty Simpson, I think, needed another year. He's not going to get it. So you better be patient with Ty Simpson and realize to force him in this year as a rookie, and they all do, Dan, they all are going to play, may be asking a little too much.
What's your thoughts about that?
That's
a lot, ain't it?
Most of the time, I don't agree with Mel Kiper, and a lot of his draft picks don't come out. But
yeah,
I mean, if on paper and you're doing all the stats that he's talking about, you look into the games that Mendoza played against, what Ty Simpson did for Alabama. Indiana came out number 1, and they also came out underrated as a number 1 team. You have to remember that, Ohio State, even Georgia, like they were talking about some of these guys in University of Miami. Carson Beck, all these guys were talking about
NFL prospects. It's a good point.
Was
he's playing against Fernando was playing against.
Right, and then on top of that, these top 5 conference teams, Fernando was not in any of those. Indiana's not a top 5. I mean, they're in their top 5 conference, but they're not a top conference team until this year. So he made that happen as far as being the leader of men among men on the offensive side, because Indiana had more than just Mendoza. But you have to understand that Mendoza also had a running back. Mendoza also had a good front line. So
he did have a running game. That's something that I would definitely give an edge to Simpson. That I'll give him, a little bit of creed for that. He did not have no run, like we talked about during the season. Towards the SEC championship game, we knew they didn't have a running game.
Yeah, if you do the breakdown, you see that Ty Simpson does some things and has an arm. He's a little bit more patient in the pocket than Mendoza. I'll give him that. But again, none of this stuff is going to matter at the end of the day when they're in the NFL. Mendoza did one thing that Ty Simpson did not, and this is what he's comparing his notes to and what we see on the film. He'll take the ball and run with it as soon as he don't have somebody available.
Yeah.
Now you saw that play where Ty Simpson was waiting for those wideouts to get an opportunity. He don't have that much time in the NFL. So, and you see, and you hear about everybody looking for a big quarterback, long quarterback, big legs. Mendoza has that. Ty Simpson's, like he says, a little bit smaller. So, if on hindsight,
4 inches taller, 6'1" versus 6'4.5", 6'5"-ish.
In hindsight, if you're going to pick a quarterback, you have to pick. You're almost forced to pick the quarterback that has performed the best and has done the best for his team at the top 5 picks. And Ty Simpson, Alabama, the 5 games he played, like he said, he fumbled in at least 4 of those games. Yeah. It's not that he's not a good quarterback. It's that he still needs more time to develop, and Fernando Mendoza doesn't, because he took that time, had 30-something games. So I feel like you're comparing apples to oranges, man, because the situation was so much different for Mendoza than it was for Simpson and the 2 teams that they played for.
It's really, I feel like as
much as you're doing the analytics and the comparing and stuff, you always give the gold star to the person who has done the best job, and Mendoza did the best job last season. I mean, and on top of that, he gave his defense an opportunity to rest, which gave them the opportunity to. This defense was the best defense that was in the NCAA.
Yeah, I'm going to show those throws by Simpson again, and then I'll show you a special throw by Mendoza.
Look, a lot of guys can throw the ball, man. That's not.
I'm just sitting here watching Ty Simpson.
Okay, the reason why I bring this back up is this kind of throw are the kind of windows you have in NFL. I'm going to show one from Mendoza, and I know you're going to know the Mendoza throw because I know you watched that Big Ten championship. But watch this one by Ty Simpson again. This is something I could see a guy like Brock Purdy making this type of throw. They're about the same height and weight.
Right.
All right, I'm just sitting here watching Ty Simpson film against Tennessee. They were a top 15 team in the country. And this throw, there's not a lot of college quarterbacks in this pocket that can make that throw right there. I mean, that is.
And over the shoulder, in pads. Now, Tennessee's not the best defense, but that was perfect coverage for that play.
Right.
That's the NFL window. Now, watch this throw. This is on a bigger game against arguably, I'm talking about Fernando Mendoza now, 3 possible top 10, top 15 NFL draft picks on that Ohio State defense. This is 3rd and 6 late in the 4th quarter. This is very much like a Eli Manning to Mario Manningham type play. It's not that good, but it's pretty freaking close here.
I just watched games.
Dan Orlovsky loves.
God. Hold on.
All right, I'm just sitting here watching.
Here, 3rd and 6 at the 24. Mendoza. Charlie B. from Nashville, Tennessee. 32 yards.
I mean, the kind of confidence your coach has to have in you to make that play at that time.
No. The answer is the kind of confidence your quarterback has in making that throw to that wide receiver. He's not the number 1 wide receiver in Indiana.
No, he's not. He's not
the
number 1 player.
Right.
No.
So my thing my thing is this. So there are a lot of guys who made that throw that Ty Simpson makes in the NFL. We got guys like and another Alabama guy who's right now going to be probably a backup in Tua. Tua make those kind of throws.
Tua can make that throw, yeah. That's exactly what I thought about Tua, yeah.
So I was like, it doesn't just making throws isn't the whole thing about being a quarterback in the NFL.
He's a little more athletic than Tua, don't you think?
Who, Simpson?
Yeah.
No, not at all. I think
really.
I think Tua's more athletic than half the quarterbacks out there. I think his problem is that he knows he's athletic and he waits too long. So he takes his ability and makes it an inability, because instead of running when he doesn't see the first window, when he doesn't see the second window close, he waits too long to either throw it away or throw an interception. So Tua's inability to use his ability is one of the biggest problems that he has to overcome to be the best quarterback in the game. Like, he has all the tools, he just sometimes misuses them.
I think he don't have I think he's a little bit too, is a little bit like Baker Mayfield. He don't have the wheels that he thinks he's not as bad as Mayfield is.
No,
Mayfield
he
thinks he's pretty close to Lamar Jackson, you know?
I think that these guys can run. They probably in that same amount of speed, if you clock them, they probably have Baker, Tua, and Lamar. Lamar probably like a decimal faster. But what happens in your mind, right? It's like, oh, I know I'm fast and I can beat that guy, but let me see if I can wait and the window opens and I can flick the ball or throw the ball. And I think their abilities are high, but their inability to use their ability is their biggest problem, and the progress that they have to make and to become the better quarterback. The same thing with Baker. You mentioned another good example. Baker and Tua, they're both speed. They both have the speed. They both can stretch the field, but their inability to use their ability is what holds them back. Waiting for that extra second, 3 seconds, 4 seconds for that window to open, they either get popped or they go sideways and get no yards, and that's the biggest issue. That's why these quarterback coaches, that's what's the problem with the NFL, is like they package these plays and they hope these quarterbacks can be in that box. And you're talking about guys that are not used to being in the box, and you're telling them to be in a box that they don't want to be in, or they're not used to being, and they're forced to make decisions not using their abilities but using the plays that are given to them. Right.
Yeah. Let's watch that Mendoza throw again, because I think this throw right here is an NFL timing route throw. This is probably the second biggest throw of the play of the postseason. The first one's probably that run into the end zone to beat, like you said, to beat Miami in the national championship game. But watch this throw right here, man, with the game on the line, folks.
I just watch games. I
don't know why I keep going.
Dan Orlovsky loves it.
All right, I'm just sitting here watching.
Here, 3rd and 6 at the 24. Mendoza. Charlie B from Nashville, Tennessee.
On his own 24, Charlie B from Nashville, Tennessee. I mean, that's just great. That's a rope. That is very much Eli Manning to Mario Manning, except Eli had two guys were closing in on Manningham.
Right. So I think you mentioning a quarterback like Eli Manning, and I'm not going to say this as being a giant.
That's clutch like Eli Manning.
Yeah, because the thing is that Eli Manning will make throws to guys, whether or not they were the number one or not. He treated everybody the same. He threw to them as if that's an opportunity for a catch. The difference right now that we're seeing is like with Ty Simpson is he waiting too long to make sure he gets a throw like that? And that one in the NFL, you don't have that much time. How is he going to be tucking in the ball and running for 4 or 5 yards, make sure he don't get hit, going sideways towards for the first down? And Mendoza, because he's bigger, because he's a little chunkier, he's not going to have. He don't have that in his brain where like I'm going to go diagonal, but he doesn't have to go all the way out and sideways. He can just go diagonal because he's big enough and he can take a hit or two. Now, should he do that? Probably not. But the bigger quarterbacks in their head, they know that if they have to do that, they could do that. And I'm talking about guys like who's that quarterback that retired early from the Colts? What's his name?
Andrew Luck.
Andrew Luck. Sometimes he did that. He dove the 4 or 5 yards, took the hits. You know, he knew he didn't have the speed, but he knew he was big enough to take a hit and at least get the 2 extra yards, right? So, you know, I'm not saying that Mendoza's going to be Andrew Luck, but what I'm saying is that his clock, his mindset is in the right place to kind of transition. Where Ty Simpson, his clock is he needs a little bit more time to produce, to practice and get a better feel of the game. And again, who knows what team he's going to and what game book they're going to give him, what playbook they're going to give him anyways. So
you're Mendoza. I'm also Mendoza. I'll say this. I am pretty impressed with some of the stuff I've seen out of Ty Simpson. If, for whatever reason, if the Jets do decide to take him, say at 16, I would say if Woody Johnson's listening, that's the owner there. If you let Frank Wright coach him for at least let him sit behind Geno Smith for this year. They've got 2 more first-round picks in 27. Let Frank Wright have 2 years with him and be patient with this staff. They're going to have a decent offensive line and let him start in 27. They could go out and get another big-time receiver or get some help on defense. And the Jets can have something they can build off of. I do think you can build around a guy like a Ty Simpson. He's got that read and reaction type of mentality about him. I think he's good. You know, they said that I heard that Mac Jones only had that many starts. Well, Mac Jones looks like a starting quarterback in the NFL now. You know, with the right coaching, the right system around him, I think he could do that. I just would not force him out there in 26 Jets. And it's all the one guy. This all comes down to Woody Johnson being patient, you know. But I do think they can be successful with Ty Simpson in 27. Don't push him out there 5 weeks in the next season. You know, I just don't think that's a good idea to do. He's going to have to solve, and they've got a pretty good offensive line too. I think they've hit on their linemen.
I feel like this: if they pick Ty Simpson, he's going to end up like the other Alabama quarterback that the Panthers had, where the first season the guy didn't look like he was.
Bryce Young
didn't look like he fit towards the last part of the season when he started.
And Young is a little shorter too.
Where he started
difference there. Ty's a little taller.
You started to see the difference towards the end of the season, and now last season he did good. So you could have a similar situation like that, not because it's similar at all in skill set, but just situational wise. And again, the NFL is a totally different animal, and it could either make you or break you. So what we can all we can do is, if I'm the Jets, I'm not sure if I'm making that pick. And I know you got Frank Reich there, and I know what you're saying, but I've said this from day one, and we always talk about this. The Jets ain't there to develop quarterbacks, man. If the Jets get somebody, they should get somebody that can't, that a team doesn't want to put on the books, and that's already developed. I'm sorry, but they're never, and they haven't been in a situation to develop a quarterback. And you can maybe name one rookie quarterback that did well in the last 30 years for the Jets, and that was Mark Sanchez. And if they didn't have a team, he wouldn't been able to be placed in there and do what he did, because Mark Sanchez did it for 2 seasons that brought him to the playoffs. But that team, half of those stars were only contracted for 2 to 3 seasons anyways, and then that team fell apart. Yeah. So, I would rather the Jets just be the Jets, sell the pick, try not to focus on getting a quarterback, and just, get all the depth that you need, because you keep losing on these 2-year, 3-year players, high contracts, and sometimes you need younger players.
Down the rookie contract. I think it'd be ideal for him to work a guy like a Ty Simpson in there.
No, the
problem is if you rush him and have a Zach Wilson or Sam Darnold situation, I think that's where they come in to get themselves in trouble.
Robert, they've been doing the whole Sam Darnold and Darnold and whatever this guy.
Both of those guys were rushed in there too.
Yeah. So, but what do you think would happen once Geno Smith goes down?
Well, I mean, I'm sure they'll.
I don't think as a Jets fan.
Who's to say Geno Smith won't go down? I mean, who's to say that he won't finish out the season? They got a pretty good offensive line, man.
They do have a good line, but this is also Geno Smith, and he's known to try to get that 2 second, third yard, and you just got to get hit.
Really another veteran quarterback, that ain't gonna cost nothing.
Yeah, I don't feel like if Geno Smith lasts the whole season, kudos to him, but I don't think he's going to last more than 8 games.
I mean, we'll see. I mean, even if they, say if they go 5 and whatever.
He's going to miss a few games.
17 games now, 5 and 12, and they pick 4 for 5th next year. They'll get a very good – they got a chance at Jeremiah Love or somebody. Caleb Williams, they're the other Ryan Williams, I think is the other wide receiver that played with Ty Simpson in Alabama. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, like
whoever's a big time player, they can have a really good shot to build the Jets up the right way through the draft.
Yes,
16 is out of reach because the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be interested in him. The Rams may take him at 13. You just never know. Somebody could jump up. Arizona could jump up and take him in the 20s.
The Jets haven't had a good quarterback situation in a long time, and I don't think for them to turn around and this is going to be the first time that they make a good decision and actually play out the situation well. They don't develop quarterbacks, and until you could prove to me there's a coaching staff there, there's an organization there that wants to spend 3 to 4 years looking to a young quarterback and develop them, then I'm like, go for it. But they're not that. I could see them trying to buy a contract out from Joe Burrow or Allen or somebody whose contract a team can't pay for, and they just pick them up because they can't. Jet fans are not eager to see a quarterback be developed, and they want to see wins on the table. And if you get a guy you got to develop, you're not getting wins. So
I'm trying to say where he coached at before. I think Frank Wright, didn't he coach with
he was at the Colts, and then he was at the Bills.
Yeah, he
coached the Panthers.
True Luck, ironically.
Yeah, he coached the Panthers.
Yeah, he coached the Panthers for a little while.
I don't think Frank Reich is not a good quarterback coach. I just think that they can't just have Frank Reich there, and they can't just have Geno with the Geno Smith. If he goes down with any kind of injury, and you put this guy Ty Simpson in, you're not gonna win 50% of the games. You're just not.
Yeah, they would have to really they'd have to keep Frank Reich there. You can't
Frank
just
Reich,
put him in there 1 year. You want to keep him in there at least through the 27 season and let him sit for a whole year, not a half a year, a whole year, not 5 games in the first year, the whole season. And that's all. This would have to come from Woody Johnson saying, if we lose all the games, we're going to roll this out next year.
Yeah.
We're going to have a plan, or we're going to see it through and not take the cake out half baked to the oven. That's the problem.
I would rather see Frank Reich put his pads back on and play than to see Ty Simpson come out early if they have to draft this kid.
No, I would prefer him to sit the whole year. And you're right. And maybe they should bring another quarterback in, to as a safeguard for Geno Smith. It'd been nice if they'd had Joe Flacco, but Joe Flacco signed with
Bengals.
I think he signed back with Cincinnati this week. So
he did.
What's your thoughts about Jackson Smith to Jigma? I told you they paid him $42 million. I'm like a general manager. I said exactly. I said he'll pay him about $42 million, and sure enough, they extended him this week. What's your thoughts about that? He's going to be a few more years with Seattle now.
Yeah, we both talked about this, and I mentioned to you too. Like if all your teammates who are great wide receivers are telling you that this guy in college that he was better than them, and he did what he did in the Super Bowl, you have to keep this guy. I mean, I know it's tough that you have this thing about wide receivers, but you have to have someone who could catch any ball or all the ball, like that's all the balls that are thrown at you, and he does them, and that's his job. That's what he does well, and he even does a few picks here and there. That's good. He blocks for his running back, so he does a little bit of everything, and he grabs the ball, man, and he's always around. He makes the plays that he needs to make, and the funny part is you see him make a 2-yard catch, you see him make a 5-yard catch, but then he blows by you and makes that 30-40 yard catch, and you're like, oh my gosh, you know.
Yeah.
So he's a good asset to have in Seattle for as far as, you know, being for a quarterback, and he's going to make money. He deserves it. He's worked hard since college, and now he's a pro, and you know, kudos to him. And this is gonna again reset the market. Now you're gonna have to look to see if, yeah, you paid a wide receiver this kind of money. Now are you gonna start paying running backs this kind of money? That's the question. That's for the next season, and we might have a lockout before that even starts.
Yeah, I think it's a mistake. But if Seattle's looking at it, John Schneider, the general manager, from a standpoint is, you know, even if I miss on this guy, and it turns out to where we're cutting too many players because you're paying him $42 million, and he's actually technically making. I heard something the other day. That was a guy from Dan Patrick's show said, well, shoot, now you're paying him more than Sam Darnold, you know, because Darnold's get this big discount. You're going to have to start moving players. Even if they do make a mistake, the fact that they already won the Super Bowl, you know, the fans may overlook this. I personally would not have signed him. I would have let him ride another year on that 5th-year option there. They didn't even have to sign him, you know, and I would have tried to find his replacement between now and then, or made a big trade and try to get some picks in there and either fill him in with tubes or whatever. Not paid that $42 million. Again, you got guys like Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson, all up there in that 40, 42, 38, 36, $33 million, going down to DK Metcalf. Metcalf being the only one of those guys that are even in the playoffs, the way Jim Moore would say. There has something to do with that, man. You just can't pay these guys that kind of money, especially when you're paying your quarterback a non-rookie quarterback salary, and expect to win playoff games and Super Bowls wins. So I wouldn't have done it, but a lot of this is a business. You're going to see a bunch of little 8-year-olds with those Jackson Smith to Jigma jerseys on there, walking around the inner Seattle area, $50, $100 a piece. And a big cut of that goes back to the organization and the ownership. I do think a lot of that has a big part of this, a big piece of this, of that signing, is that, of course, they're not going to say it publicly. That's the reason why I think that, you know, Higgins and Jamar Chase signed big contracts with Seattle or with Cincinnati. In my opinion, a lot of that was business related and not football related, you know. So we'll see how it plays out. Kudos to JSN, and I will not be picking Seattle to repeat. Back to the college basketball games. Hubert Davis, man, huge lead. They blew 19-point lead in the CU game. They went out twice in the first round. He was fired. My whole point in that, it's hard to follow a legend. It's hard to follow a Roy. And I'm saying this, we talked about Ty Simpson a few minutes ago. Keelan DeBoer is going to be fired this year or next year. He's going to get fired from Alabama. It's hard to follow Nick Saban, Roy Williams, a 3-time national champion, Coach Michael Jordan as an assistant back in '82 when they won a championship with Dean Smith. It's just too hard to do it. The bar's raised so high, and you can see the administration didn't have a lot of patience. So here's some possible replacements. This is a guy from CBS. Listen
and
up.
Here are the names you need to know for North Carolina, as has been told to me that the school and its leadership will be initially targeting. Brad Stevens, yes, that Brad Stevens, he is on the list. Whether or not he would seriously consider this remains a very, very, very open question. There's a lot of skepticism that he would even consider it. However, I did talk to a source about Stevens in the past week, and that source did say that, you know, internally Stevens has not swore off ever coaching again. It's not like he left the sidelines with Boston to go into the front office and he'll never do it again. But if he wants to coach again, like almost any NBA job that he would want, he could get. That being said, it's Carolina. And the point is, whether he's going to do it or not, North Carolina is going to ask him if he will be their head coach, and he is the #1 person on the list. Tommy Lloyd at Arizona. You move to Dusty May at Michigan. Iowa State, TJ Otzelberger are three big names. Maybe we float into the Todd Golden or Nate Oates realm. I'm told those names wouldn't be as high on the list as the names that I gave you. Billy Donovan. I'm told Billy Donovan, for the first time in a long time, would at least be open to potentially discussing this if he is indeed courted. We'll see if North Carolina chooses to pursue him.
Okay, first of all, what's your thoughts of a guy like Brad Stevens?
No, as much as he's young, he's already in the NBA loop. He knows how and where he can work if he needs to move work and get moved somewhere else. And I'm not sure that he would want to go back to college and then not be successful. Because just because he moves from the NBA to college don't mean he's going to be successful. He'd have to learn NIL.
Remember, he was with Butler and won with Butler.
Yeah, but Butler wasn't going through NIL in the situation. Now NIL is a totally different game.
It's a different world now.
You got to bring in a recruiter. He's got to bring in a coaching staff from all over the place. It's going to be it's a lot of drama. And if he even loses his first season, they're all going to question why they even hired him to begin with. The only name I see on that list, I would as an alumni, as a person making sure that I feel this job. And I'm going to be very serious about this. Is Billy Donovan.
Yeah,
and I'm going to tell you exactly why.
Too, man. Yeah,
I'm going to tell you why. He's won championships with Florida. He played at Providence. He's played
for Kentucky too, didn't he?
He played for Kentucky, so he knows.
He worked under Kentucky with Pitino, I think, right?
Right. Well, he won with Kentucky, but Pitino was a coach. Yep. So he knows all the major conferences. The ends of the leadership of the conferences. He knows a little bit about NIL because he finished, he helped Florida win a little bit. So, and then on top of that, he's closer to retirement. So if you gave him a 5-year deal, 10-year deal, whatever you want to give him, he's going to get you at least to the dance. He played college at Providence. So he knows, so he's going to get you at least to the dance. That's a guarantee. That's the kind of coach he is.
Well, they ain't thinking to the dance. They're thinking Final Four national.
No. Well, again, with what's going on with
dance, that means to the tournament. That ain't the goal for North Carolina.
No, that's not. No, again, this will be his first year going. I'm saying the first year he will be at the dance if he coaches.
Okay.
Right. So, and the thing about UNC is like Oregon for football. They got Michael Jordan support. They got the school. They got alumni from all over the place. Some of the best NBA players went to UNC. And there is not one of those guys or players that will say
Grant still.
Yeah. There's not one of those older guys who are our age or older who wouldn't want Donovan as a leadership there.
Right.
You don't want to go too young. You don't want to go too old. But if you're going to pick someone, it's better to pick someone like Billy Donovan than any of those other guys on the list.
Yeah, Donovan would be my number one guy. I don't think he's too happy with Chicago. The Bulls are not fully dedicated. I don't think their staff, as far as general management, is putting in the right players there. I know he's better than that. He done really well. He got very close with OKC. Come up a little short there. He gave his try at NBA. I could see him being like a Pitino, like a Calipari, going back to college and finding life again and doing something. But if not, that Iowa State coach, man.
Not like
that would be the next one.
Robert, I say this because like what you mentioned too, even when he was in OKC and he came out of Florida and stuff, he still got coach of the year. He got them to the playoffs.
He got coach of the year there.
He got coach of the year.
Let me see. But anyways, I want to look and see if he did.
Yeah, he got coach of the year. So my thing about and I'm not a fanboy of Donovan. Believe me, I wasn't.
No, he smoked everybody.
He did in the SEC with the Florida team. He took a Florida team with just transfers and just a bunch of he made those guys
real big stars, were they?
No, that's what I'm saying. So he will get you. He will get you to the dance. And look,
he did win in 2019 and 2020. Sure did.
Yeah. So like my thing is this: is if you're going to get a coach, you got to get one who knows NCAA knows about being on how to get into the dance. And once you're there, then whatever potential you have, whatever team you have, he will get everything out of those kids.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the kind of coach you want. And you don't have to look on a list, man. You go give him the big money, you get him. The rest is going to take all the pieces will fall in itself at UNC. UNC, like I said, it's the Oregon of football. Like, kids want to go there.
Oh, they like the little Michael Jordan symbol. They like Jordan still,
Yeah.
you know, even though they haven't got a chance to see him play live. But, you know.
In fact, this is funny because, like, you look at some of these documentaries, you talk about UNC has always gotten 5-star players more than they have gotten Duke.
Oh, definitely.
Then Duke. Now, Duke has always got the academic. They always fall underneath the academic tree where they got not only they get the 5-player, but the 5-star, but they get the smartest 5-star because of, you know, the situation where they're more academically inclined to ask for grades for that university. But don't get me wrong, just because you go to Duke, don't make you the smartest basketball player. You know what I'm saying?
No.
So, but
that's always been like a rumor, though, right?
Yeah. So my thing is this: I as much as I like basketball and I like competitive basketball, and like I wouldn't not that those guys that are on that list aren't good coaches, but you want UNC, you want a great coach. You just had the opportunity of bringing back an alumni member in Hubert Davis, and he didn't cut the snuff. That's what you're saying. That's why
he's following Roy Williams, you know.
Yeah. So
he did good early and he fell off. I mean, it happens a lot.
Why not go back and get somebody who already has history in his a known winner? Because he like you said, he's not winning in Chicago, so it's easier. If I'm him, I was like, you know,
I'm the press for him in Chicago. It's freezing up there and he's not winning. Everything's good when you're winning.
But this guy, I tell you this: if he goes into the ACC, Duke can forget about.
It'll be good watching him.
It will be fun. It'll be super fun. It will bring back the excitement in the triad area.
Yeah.
And now that you have High Point in that area too,
North Carolina, yeah.
You know, come on, you gotta do something, and you will not believe if you hire that guy. All of the top 5 players,
yeah,
they're gonna want to run to that school.
Do you have any thoughts about the tournament before we start the Sweet 16? What's your thoughts on it up to this point?
I mean, I got more than I wanted out of Kentucky to see what Kentucky can do. That last minute shot.
Well, that was a great shot there in the first game.
St. John's on the skin of the teeth, throwing up prayers, God listening and giving them another 6, you know, giving them goal opportunity. I was not the UNC thing. I was kind of like, you know, because I had them on my as a Sweet 16 team. UNC. Who else? The High Point winning.
Yeah. Well, Florida losing to Iowa. I told you, I thought that Florida's guard play was going to catch up with them. I think they catch up with them this soon. What's your thoughts about that game?
Ooh, I mean, not just in that game, but a lot of these top seeded teams falling back a little bit and catching back up has been the running theme. And I think what it is that they feel as if they were top because they were top rated, that they can just mosey on and get in rhythm. They need to, and they caught Florida. They caught up with Florida. They need to change that mindset. You just because you were top rated coming in, don't mean that you're going to be winning that game. And I feel like a lot of teams went in there trying to play.
The game was good against Wisconsin. That, of course, it hurt my bracket and everybody's. Did you have? What do you think about the game Friday night? Speaking of St. John's over Duke, I picked St. John's in the bracket, folks. I'm going to stick with that, but I am a little surprised that Caden Boozer, the twin brother, is stepping in at guard play. I would be one big surprise that Duke didn't win this game. How do you see that game playing out tomorrow night? It's going to be a big one.
I think that this is going to fall back on whatever team makes the most 3-pointers will probably win this game. And I say that in a sense where
who you picking? I mean, in my bracket, I did pick St. John's.
I picked Duke.
I'm shaky on Duke now because of the emergence of the twin brother.
Right. So, I've had this. I like St. John's. I've had the issue that they don't have consistent shooting from the 12 and 15 foot, and then on top of that, you add the discrepancy that they have in the 3-point shot. That it's sometimes there and sometimes it's not. And I in my bracket, I have picked Duke over St. John's, and I picked that game.
Duke to win.
I did, and I still do.
What about Michigan State? They're playing somebody big, aren't they?
And UConn.
Yeah, I did pick Michigan State to upset UConn. Are you going to stick with UConn tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm sticking with UConn. When I first was watching the first half of the UCLA game, I was like, oh my God, this is not the UConn that's been, advertising that, and all of a sudden the guard play came in. They were shooting better. The forwards played more defense, got more rebounds. Transition play was better. The 3-point shooting just started coming in for UConn, and the game just flipped. Somewhere or another, UCLA kind of just drifted and disappeared. UConn went on an 8-0 run coming out of the second half, and you're like, what the heck? And I feel bad for UCLA because they kept attacking the basket, but they kept getting blocked or missing the shot, and it's like they didn't adjust. They was just trying to make points, and it came back to bite them in the butt. Plus the length that UConn has and the ability that the guys who have that length, that's gonna mess with everybody.
I like the guard play at Michigan State. UConn's not quite there this year. They're just not that good this year. No matter how much Dan Hurley gets ticked off, I don't think they're good. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think Michigan State's slightly better. But we'll see. I mean, I think UConn's actually favored, and I know Duke is favored per se. And you're right. I am a little worried about the offense of St. John's. I just got to wonder if there's a reason why the other Boozer, Caden Boozer, why wasn't he playing prior to this? So maybe he's young man steps up. I like Duke. I like Cameron big time. Matter of fact, he would be one of the top picks for me in the NFL draft. He can do it all, man. He can play. He's a good ball handler. He's a good rebounder. He plays defense. He communicates. He kind of reminds me of a little bit more talented version of his dad's teammate, Shane Battier, a little bit, May even be a better pro. Who knows? Baseball started. I didn't put a lot of thought in this, but I know you do. And your man, Keith Engel. Who do you think's going to the World Series this year, man?
Oof. Oh, well, so I do have the Yankees coming out of that division second. In the East, AL East, and I have the Mets coming out of the NL East second. I believe maybe Toronto and Philadelphia will come out in first. I'm excited. Yankees played last night. Got an egg, 7-0.
The Giants beat them last night?
No, the Yankees won.
Okay.
7-0.
Yankees win. Yankees. Is John Sterling still calling the radio?
No.
He's like 85, ain't he?
Yeah, and then I think he retired. This would be the second year. Well, the thing was Sterling was that he did a half a season, and then had somebody else come in.
Is that other lady still helping him?
She's still there.
Okay.
This might be her next year. Might be her last year.
Roger Clemens, they've been around for a long time, man.
Yeah, man, they're stalwarts in the radio for Yankees baseball. So,
who's actually in the World Series?
Oof.
Putting you on the spot, dude. Putting you on the spot.
This year, I think the Dodgers will play. I hope
not again. 3 straight.
Yeah, I think the thing is that lineup, man, and that now they have depth.
Yeah, they added some depth. I think they added a player from Chicago, didn't they?
Yeah, what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna set you up. In the NL playoff will be the Dodgers versus the Mets of the Phillies, right? And I hope the Phillies have play the Dodgers, so the Dodgers have to, so that the Mets can play the Phillies and win. But I don't know. And then in the AL, I'm gonna have the Yankees play in either Toronto in the mix, and maybe the Mariners.
Yeah, I'm thinking Seattle.
Those are my
Mets for the World Series.
I
think your Mets will win it all this year. I mean,
from your mouth to God's ears, bro. I would definitely like to see the Mets play Seattle, or I would like to see the Yankees play the Dodgers again. But
yeah,
yeah.
I can see the Dodgers losing focus. I mean, it's when you got overwhelmingly amount of stars, everybody's going to be gunning for you, and just the hype's going to get more and more and more. Kind of reminds me of that time when in 2001 when the Yankees played Arizona. It was just building and building and building, and then like the games that led up to that game, to that series.
And that Arizona team had nothing but all-star castaways. There was nothing.
The pitchers are great.
Yeah.
Schilling and Randy Johnson.
And then on top of that, they had Luis, the first baseman.
Mark Grace, I think, was on that team, wasn't he?
Mark Grace was on that team. They
passed away.
Yeah, they had a bunch of guys that were at the tail end of the career, but baseball's different now. I feel so now that you mentioned that, I do want to say this for those who are want to know about baseball a little bit. I think there's not one way to put a baseball team together and get what you like. The Dodgers pay a lot of money, sure, and they should be in the mix of a World Series because of how much they pay. But that just because you pay a lot of money does not guarantee you an opportunity to be in a World Series. You still have to go out there and win. You got to stay away from injuries, and you still got to make those late season moves. Yeah. Teams, the Yankees, like two teams that didn't really do anything that I think are going to be in the top tiers of the season are the Philadelphia Phillies. Really didn't make too many moves.
Yeah,
they still have the core.
They got the core star players.
Yeah, they got the pillars there, and then they got a few young guys that they're bringing in the mix within pitching as well on the field. They got this young center fielder. You got to check him out. He's I can't remember his name, but he's going to be good. And then Yankees did the same thing. They didn't make too many changes. They got pillar. Some of the guys. The things that right now I'm worried some of the fan base is that Oswaldo Cabrera got sent back down to the minors, and so did Luis Dominguez. But these two guys, if you think about it, if anything at all happens to the starting roster, they have two guys that are major league players who've been on the field for the Yankees in the last 2 seasons. They're just young, and the Yankees don't want to pay them high money. If these guys are on the base for more than 30 games, and they're gonna have to start getting paid.
Yeah, nobody's still talking about when Garrett Cole's gonna come back.
Yeah, and then they didn't make no changes in that because they got Garrett Cole coming back, and they got this guy Carlos.
I'm sure he's gonna be back this year.
Yeah, and they're hoping that he comes back in the end of the month. So
sooner than later. It's not like all-star break stuff.
Right. So he should be back by the end of May, something like that.
Okay. It's still March. I mean, It's not even April yet, and I'm glad they're starting a little early. I wish they start March 1st. Kind of caught me off guard a little bit, but I'm gonna get on as much as I can, man. Anything else you need to plug? Is that it?
No, just you guys enjoy the rest of the dance. There's going to be some great games coming up,
especially Bars games. Wow.
Woo. And I'm gonna come back right now. I'm at 58% of my picks, but I still have my final four set, so they're still in. And man, it's not enough time in the day, not enough time in a month. This is a sports where sports is gonna peak, and it's a fun time, man. It's a fun time.
Yeah, 4 weeks from tonight we'll be doing the draft, so
woof.
Prepared. I'm gonna try to get as many guests to come in on like picks, and we can question the guests. I've reached out to Jim Jeffcoat, but he ain't got back to me. I was hoping he'd come in and talk some Cowboys with us for a few minutes.
I think there's not much to say about the Cowboys, which makes it kind of.
On that note, bad New Yorker, everybody. Appreciate you, man. Have a good night, folks. I'll see you next week. I'll try to give you a breakdown on Sunday. Give you a little lowdown on what happened this past weekend. Have a good night, everybody. By the way, if you like the show, please share the show. And I want to thank my man, Dr. Phil. Oh, I was kidding. I'm Uber rider. Thank you, Phil, for the tip, brother, and thank you for following. You have a good night, man, and good luck to the Vols, of course, and your stint down in. I know you got to go to the nieces, the wives, and everything. The baby shower down in Orlando. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night. See you next time.